Welcome to the WiseTake DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined yet again by Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. That's REF. And of course, as usual, we got Matt Amon. You can find him on Twitter at Matt Amon123. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing good. It sounds like everyone on here had the Twins, so I think we're all in at least for a decent night.
Yeah, doing well. Hopefully, Greinke can pitch at least one more inning, and I can. I'm in second place in this 100-man Jeep. Looking good.
All right, let's do it. So, I think we're all still sweating it out just a little bit. I think Matt's pretty secure in his cash games. He is sweating a little bit of his tournaments, and I know Joe is sweating a 100-man GPP here, trying to catch up to first. And how far are you, Joe?
Right now, I am 5 points out of first.
So if Greinke wins, you win.
Yep.
Exactly.
He's still out there right now, too.
You want him out of the game. Pull him.
It's true. But I also have this lineup in another two GPPs that I'd like to win some more money because you could really get a lot more money. These are the squeezes. So I'm 14th in one of them and 28th in.
Gotcha.
All right, let's do it. We got the top of the 8th here. Big inning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it comes. And I need Jake Lamb to do something in the bottom just to keep me a little safer. I'm not as safe. I'm there, but I'm not as safe as Matt right now in the cash zone. So I'm hoping that Jake Lamb can bring us some. Yo, real quick, Matt Feldman, man, like you want to talk about like crazy stuff, man.
Well, you were telling me that you were watching the game and the umpire had a huge strike zone, and you text me. What's your umpire data on that game? And I said, oh, the umpire from that game was the best pitcher's umpire on like, and it's so. I mean, umpires matter for sure.
That's like the only like possible predictive thing, like in that because nothing made sense. Feldman being good this year out of nowhere doesn't even really make sense. And don't get me wrong, I think we all know that while we would like large sample sizes, we also have to adapt. We have to be able to adapt to new things. And Feldman is something I'm having a very hard time adapting to, especially when he's in the Great American Ballpark against the Cleveland Indians.
Hey, it's baseball. Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I guarantee you that Feldman was not very high on very many projection sheets, rating sheets, anywhere. But hey, how about Pineda, man? Chalky Pineda getting it done. I think in cash games he was like 70-80% owns on FanDuel, and I got 40 plus. So Pineda, with the weather clearing up, he ended up being kind of the no-brainer cash play with all the big bats that were out there to pay for. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. As a situation where the chalk did its job.
I think it's time though. One thing for sure, I know some people don't believe that Greinke's resurgence this year is real, but it's real. He's hashtag good again.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. His swinging strike rate is up. And like that's the thing. Like Feldman today, for instance, his swinging strike rate is not all that high. That's why the strikeouts aren't making sense. But then when I asked Matt, his hard contact rate is down. I'll give him that. He doesn't really have a hard contact rate. But when I asked Matt about the umpires, I'm watching. Matt, I didn't even watch the game. What I was watching is my Sportacular app on my phone, and all I'm seeing is strikeout looking, and I'm like strikeout looking. Like I'm like they're not even swinging, and that's what made me ask you. And sure enough. There it was. They had one of the better pitching umpires on the slate. So the best, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, you can also you remember before lock too. We were talking, and I was saying, well, I want another team to stack, and you're like, well, what about the Indians?
Yeah.
And we dug a little bit deeper, and I was like, he doesn't get hit very hard. He's not giving up home runs, and so I decided to stay away from the Indians, and it was a good choice. I mean, it didn't get me on Feldman, but it was still a good choice. So. Yeah. Hey, I mean, research is important more than just, Scott Feldman, I think he's bad. You know what I mean? I remember that he's bad.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Definitely do your research.
Absolutely. What did you think of today's slate, Joe?
I liked it. I went in, I had that double stack. I love the Indians, and I only really played Kipnis and Lindor. So Kipnis hit a home run, and Lindor had a double, and a walk. So they produced. And then I also had Cubs and Diamondbacks, and it seems to me like a lot of the public had Diamondbacks. But then I did one hedge stack of the Twins and the Orioles with Greinke, and that is the team that's winning. And Greinke just pulled up a double play.
Sure.
Hey, man, well, last night we did say, oh, yeah, I just saw it. Anyway, last night we said the Cubs and the Diamondbacks were going to be the chalk. We kind of knew that. And as long as the weather was clear in Chicago, and I think we found out with enough time that it was going to be. And you know, I think we even joked about it, about how, you know, watch, it's going to be a stack outside of this. There's so many games, you got to pick a game outside of this. And like you said, Joe, ended up being the Twins, and what, Baltimore went off, and, you know, it's interesting, man. It's great. Rockies, yeah. I think the Rockies, I saw them. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, ready to talk about Tuesday slate?
Yeah, only 15 games, so it shouldn't take us too long.
Yeah, not bad. All right. We got this, man. All right, we got Johnny Cueto of the San Francisco Giants visiting John Lester, the lefty from the Chicago Cubs. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I wasn't ready for this one to be the first one. I clicked on Colorado and Philly, but hey, let's do it. Let me scroll down real quick.
I better make sure I'm on the right deal here.
No, you're right. It's a 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Using different sources.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's the first game in a while that the wind is blowing in at Wrigley, and it's going to be colder, 60 degrees, and it looks like there's a small chance for rain. So watch out. You know, tomorrow there's several games that it's kind of like the same as today, like 40-50% chance of rain, like just enough to be annoying to where you have to pay attention. Anyways, I don't know. Cueto seems fine. The Cubs strike out a fair bit, but they're also potent. God, there is so many great pitching options on the slate. I don't think Cueto is going to be my guy, but I think he's certainly in play. He's a good pitcher, and like I said, the Cubs do strike out a fair bit. On the other side, you know, the Giants are really bad, and Hendricks was really good last year. He hasn't quite been the same guy this year. His strikeout rate's a little bit down. All the hard contact stuff is up across the board. His swinging strike rate is down, all that stuff. But his price is pretty fair against a Giants team that isn't very good. Like I said, there's lots of good pitching options on this slate. So I don't think I'm going to go here either. But both of these pitchers are definitely good enough that I don't want any of the bats in this game.
It's Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, this is one of the games where I'm just gonna stay away from. There's just not anything there except for maybe a one-off where you're going to look at the lineups. Like, for instance, today Almora batted second. He was 100 on FanDuel. So that is obviously, if you see a good one-off for your cash game, salary relief, especially with Kershaw on the slate, you are that's what I suggest to do. But if anything else, I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah. I'm with you guys, man. I think there's merit. You know, if you want to play Cueto, I get it. The Cubs do strike out. This is the weather to do it. The only, you know, Wrigley is a big field. If there's no wind, it's definitely a larger field, so it's typically a little better for pitchers. So, like Matt said, it looks like we're not going to have that Chicago wind blowing out this game. So this is a situation where if you want to take the pitchers, you can. As far as Lester, not crazy about it. The Giants are pretty right-handed heavy, and also they're pretty right-handed. If you want to take a chance on guys that steal bases, we know Lester doesn't like to throw to first, so you can look at Nunez. He'll probably be leading off. You can look at guys like him. So maybe you know, like Joe was saying, there's definitely spots here on both sides for some cheap one-offs if you want to take a shot. But I see merit in the pitchers. I personally don't want any part of the pitchers. I think I'm with you guys. This whole game is like a pass for me.
Yeah, I actually, when I was talking about the game, I have Kyle Hendricks on my screen, so I broke down Hendricks. But
wait. Is Kendrick on tomorrow?
You have Lester. I have Hendricks on DraftKings. It says Hendricks.
I think FanDuel had Hendricks up there also.
Yeah, it says Lester on ESPN too. So, anyways, but I don't think it really matters. Lester and Hendricks are, you know, they're obviously different-handedness, but they've been, you know, similar. Maybe Lester's been a little better this year, you know, and Hendricks was a little better last year.
Yeah.
But do we have a price for Lester anywhere?
I see him as 10-3. On FanDuel, but again, I'm looking at I'm just looking at a different source. That's all it is. You know, it's funny you say that because my model actually has Kyle Hendricks listed there too. So I think FanDuel has him listed. So
Okay.
either
Kyle
way,
Hendricks is on. Kyle Hendricks is on FanDuel for 9,200.
yeah. So it very well may be Kyle Hendricks.
Okay. Well, that kind of changes things. You know, I wanted to say, I was just looking. The Giants have been like pretty hot lately. They took, what was it, 3 or 4 against the Cardinals, or 2 or 3 against the Cardinals, 2 or 3 against the Dodgers. They won 3 or 4 against the Reds. So they've been playing better as of late. So if you want to attack Hendricks, I guess Giants have been playing good, but no.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, you know, well, to me, it's a situation. There's so many different ways we can go. I think that if the wind's not going to be here, if I don't have the wind here, I don't think I want to take the Giants in that spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I mean, they have been hot. They're certainly meriting it. Okay, we got Christian Bergman of the Seattle Mariners visiting. Now, you guys said Joe Ross was just called up. So Joe Ross of the Washington Nationals. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Let's see what the weather looks like in this game. It looks like another game like the rest that has a small chance of rain, but another game that looks like it'll be fine. 66 degrees, wind blowing in a little bit. Bergman had a really good start in his last start against Oakland, but I'm not going to play him against Washington. They're too good for me to want to do that. And then on the other side, Joe Ross. I would maybe have some interest in Ross. As Joe has pointed out several times, the Seattle lineup is pretty weak without Cano. And you would think Ross is, have a really good chance at a win here. He's super cheap on DraftKings, 5,900. So, I mean, I'm not excited about it, but maybe a dart throw on Ross. And then on the batting side, I mean, the Nationals have a few good lefties. So if you wanted Harper or Murphy, or if you wanted to stack this up, I'd be fine with that. I think there's going to be some spots that I like better, but I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to stack up the Nationals at all. And then on the Mariners side, Nelson Cruz is really cheap, 4,300. And I said maybe Joe Ross, but he's not very good. It's only just because he's really cheap. So, Nelson Cruz, 4,300. Kyle Seager, 3,600 on DraftKings. I mean, that's just ridiculously cheap. So, a couple good one-off plays from the Mariners also. Okay.
Go ahead, Joe. What you got?
Yeah, to echo that, Kyle Seager's only 3,100 on FanDuel tomorrow. That's a pretty damn good value going against Joe Ross. Cruz is 4,000 on FanDuel. The game, once again, it's one of those games. It's hard to get a read on, really, right now. Seattle's flying the East Coast. Washington, it's weird. Like I want to. Whenever I seem to play them, they never seem to produce as much as I want. This last weekend against Pittsburgh, they just did not play very well. But if you want to, they're always got the talent with Murphy and Harper and Turner. And if they put in Defoe, maybe there's another salary relief guy, but not really.
Yeah. I think that I don't mind the Nationals. They had a day or two off, and I'm not really afraid of this Christian Bergman guy. I think that you guys are onto something with Joe Ross. I think he's very interesting on FanDuel. He's I don't even know how much he's super cheap on FanDuel. I'm gonna check his price right now. $6K, I think. So $6K on FanDuel. Listen, it's a Kershaw slate, so I'm not going there in cash. I think we all know who the cash game pitcher is, but in tournaments, if I want to be like really funky, if I'm doing multiple entries, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. If I'm making 3 or 4 tournament lineups, I don't know if he's gonna make one of them, but I don't mind him against Seattle. Like you said, Matt, about Joe. Joe's right, man. Without Cano, this lineup's a different lineup. He makes a big difference. He don't strike out a lot. He's a powerful lefty, so. If Cano's in the game, forget about it. But if Cano's out, if you want to get crazy and just pay up for all the bats that you want to pay up for, I think there's some merit in Joe Ross. And on DraftKings, I definitely think Joe Ross should be considered. Of course, we're still waiting on a line, so we want to see what Vegas thinks.
I just want to see what Vegas thinks.
We always want to see because they're smarter than us. Okay. Irvin Santana of the Minnesota Twins visiting Dylan Bundy of Fuego's Baltimore Orioles. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean these teams paid off big for us today, but I don't think I'll be going here tomorrow for anything. Santana's been pretty good this year. He's finally got his regression. We know he was really lucky early in the season that regression was coming, and it's hit. The only thing that you don't like about him lately is he's been walking a lot of people, 3, 3, 5, 4 in his last 4 starts, so that's a little bit worrisome. But I do think he's good enough to hold these Orioles in check, and I don't think he strikes out enough people for me to want to use him. And then I think much of the same can be said for Dylan Bundy. His walk rate is a little bit too high. He doesn't quite strike out enough people, but I think he's just good enough that a Minnesota stack is no good here. So I think this is another one of those games where no pitchers, no hitters for me.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm totally off this game. It's when on a 15-game slate, there's just so many other ways that you can go. They're both playing well, but there's not really much you can do that I'm be confident, especially in cash.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's tough, man. Santana's he did regress to something that Matt we talked about for a little while with his BABIP and his left on base numbers, and you're right, Matt. You nailed it. He had that game, and I think people are gonna come here because of how well it did today, but it's a totally different ball game, totally different team. I don't mind the Twins bats though, honestly. I don't think I don't necessarily like the righties here, and but like Kenny Vargas, if he gets if they play him against Bundy, I think he's interesting. And the way that I'm thinking is I'm looking for these cheaper guys that I can use with Kershaw. So at first base, a situation where we end up having to pay up for a lot. I don't mind like some of these guys because Kepler's only 3K, Vargas 2.8, Rosario 2.5. So am I crazy about it? No, but I might have to go back to the Twins here, and as far as the Baltimore bats, I think I'm with you guys. There's a lot of righties here, and Santana's pretty good against righties. So I'm not too big on the Baltimore bats, but I think I do like the Twins a little bit. Maybe not a full stack, but maybe like a little mini stack or one off here or there. Ugh. This slate's tough.
Kepler's been hot. Kepler's been real hot.
He's been hot, that's for sure. That was a great call from you, Matt. I put in my cash game talking to you.
Yeah, Ubaldo's the worst, and especially against lefties. And Kepler's been mashing, so it makes sense.
Absolutely. Danny Duffy, the lefty from the Kansas City Royals, in a rematch with the New York Yankees, this time in Yankee Stadium, visiting Jordan Montgomery, the other lefty. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rematch, like you said, of the game that happened last week, a game that Duffy pitched really well. Had his best game of the year by far. So, I mean, the Yankees strike out, a fair bit, one of the top 5 strikeout teams in the league, but they are a potent offense. Can he do it again in Yankee Stadium? I don't know. I think he's going to be, not very high owned with all the great pitching options. So if you want to throw a tournament dart, if you want to go here, I'd be fine with that. On the other side, I think Jordan Montgomery is going to be my favorite of the cheap pitchers. 6,800 on DraftKings. We know how bad I think the Royals are. The Royals got him last time out, but I think he gets the better of him this time, and I like Jordan Montgomery a lot in this spot. And then, I think this is another game where I'm probably going to stay away from the bats just because, Duffy got the better of him last time, and obviously I just said that I like Montgomery. So, yeah, I think the pitchers more than the hitters, but,
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I like Montgomery, and I definitely I kind of like the Yankees in a sneaky stack because I really want to. I don't know many people would play them if you're playing in a qualifier. You can stack Holiday, Judge, Sanchez, 3 righties. And Duffy has not been lights out all season, and so let's see if he can do it in Yankee Stadium. So if you want to stack the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, I don't think it'll be high owned. I think it could provide really, really some very, very good profit.
Yeah.
But yeah, only in qualifiers though, in my opinion.
I definitely like the Yankees. I'm with you on tournaments. I'm not necessarily going to put any of these guys in cash against Duffy. I'm with both of you. I like Montgomery. I definitely do. I'm not big on Duffy. I think that he's not going to be popular, but he's going to be even more popular than he probably should be in the stadium just because of the fact that there's going to be somebody who thinks they're being sneaky. There's going to be some people who think they're being sneaky by playing him because he did well against them last time. It's a different stadium, different circumstance, different weather even. It's a little nastier out there. The Yankees do strike out a lot, but they do have some strong righties as well. Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez. So I don't think that I don't necessarily think the Yankees are going to blow these guys up, but I do, like Joe said, I do think the Yankees bats can be a little sneaky here because they have been playing well. They are a good team offensively, and not too many people are going to go there. So yeah, in cash games, I don't think you're looking at anything from this game. Maybe Montgomery if you're playing DraftKings cash. I'm not quite sure I haven't really thought about the lower end pitchers because it's Kershaw, so I just know I'm going to Kershaw. So all right, guys, we got German Marquez from the Colorado Rockies visiting Zach Eflin of the Philadelphia Phillies. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to be paying down at pitcher in cash, that Marquez may be my guy. I think this guy's actually really good. I've watched him a fair bit. He's just impressed me every time out. He's a ground ball pitcher. He has a decent strikeout rate, and he just seems kind of good overall. And he's been good. I mean, I said last time on the pod that he's kind of faced murderer's row of teams. He got an easier matchup last time against Minnesota. But he's had a lot of good games, 25 points against Arizona, 35 against Cubs as his DraftKings points, and then 15 last time out against Minnesota. So at 6,600 on DraftKings, I'm very interested to pair with Kershaw. And then he's facing the Phillies, who aren't, nobody's afraid of the Phillies. So if the rain holds off in this game, this is another one of those kind of 50% chance of rain the whole game, so we got to look out for that. But if it's a clear game, I do like Marquez. And then on the other side, Eflin is terrible. He doesn't strike anybody out. He has been able to avoid getting blown up so far this year, but I think there's a decent chance that this is the day that he does get blown up. I think the Rockies are for real. I think they're #good at baseball. So their lineup is loaded, and I feel like they're really starting to come on. So I like the Rockies here a fair bit.
Okay. #good. I like it. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I like Marquez. And once again, I like the Rockies on the road. Keep stacking them. People will not do it. Eflin is not very good. People will go other places. Keep stacking them. I made a mistake today and did not have any Rockies. They were one of the best teams. So keep doing it. Citizens Bank Park, right? That's what it's called. It's a hitter's park. So, and Marquez, he had 58 points against the Cubs. Last time he had 27 against the Rockies on FanDuel. He's a good GPP pitcher also. You'll be able to get bats that you want. So, yeah, please take a look at him more tomorrow.
My problem with the Rockies, and I'm with you guys, they've been hot. This is a good stadium, and Eflin is not good. For some reason, he just doesn't seem to really get hit all that hard. I don't understand. I still think the Rockies are still in a good spot. I mean, they've been hot, and like I said, it's not like this guy's got to make a strikeout stuff, swing and miss stuff. He's not a strikeout guy, so I don't really understand why it's happening. But it's happening. He's not getting hit all that hard, and you figure it's got to turn, right?
Yeah, he's getting lucky. I mean, he's still giving up 36.5% hard contact.
Is he?
Yeah, 36.5% hard contact. I mean, he's been lucky. His BABIP's a little low. His left on base a little high, and I think he's just hitting in gloves. So yeah. I think aggression is coming, and I think this is a good spot for it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would definitely love to take these Rocky bats. And honestly, even I know he's bad against lefties particularly, but some of these righties, man, Arenado, I'm not afraid to take Arenado against the guy. But it's been scary, man. Like he's been somehow he's not getting crushed. But you know what? On this kind of slate, this Rockies team, they got enough power that they could be the ones to do it. They could win you a tournament. So I'm with you. As far as Marquez, he's 8.5 on FanDuel. I'm not going there. There's just better options. But on DraftKings at 6.6, Matt, I thought that was a pretty good call there for an SP2, especially with Kershaw on the slate. All right, we got Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians visiting Amir Garrett, the lefty from the Cincinnati Reds, after they were just shut down by Scott Feldman. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Amir Garrett is free on DraftKings. I mean, just 4,800. I mean, you never see guys that cheap, and this guy has talent. He has some decent stuff, but we don't like to pick on the Indians. They don't strike out very much, and he has a walk problem. So, maybe in a tournament, if you're double stacking some really expensive offenses, you could go here. But I probably have some more interest in the Cleveland bats than Garrett. On the other side, Carrasco is a decent pitcher with a lot of talent and who's, capable of having good games, but I'm not going to go here today. The Reds don't strike out. It's a bad ballpark, and there's just several other guys I like more. So, I mean, Carrasco is good enough that I'm not going to play the Reds, but I'm not going to use Carrasco here. And then on the other side, if you wanted to stack the Indians, you could. But I think for me, there's going to be better options.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'm just looking up some stats here on the Indians. The Indians team WOBA against lefties are 23rd in the major leagues. So they're not very good against lefties. So 4,800 with Kershaw, put them two together. That's almost like a regular. You can almost do that. I don't know if you do that in cash, but you can get some good bats.
Don't do it in cash.
Don't do it in cash.
But don't do it in cash, but turns for sure.
You could get some good bats, because like the Indians, I don't think they're hitting the ball very well lately.
The only problem is they don't strike out, and even against righties, they don't strike out.
Yeah, I mean, but at 4,800, how much do you need?
Yeah, no, you don't. If you have 12 DraftKings points, you're thrilled, and that's certainly within the range of outcomes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's certainly interesting. If you want a low-owned pitcher on maybe FanDuel, Carrasco would certainly be low-owned. Nobody's going to go there. I'm not a huge fan of it myself because the Reds don't strike out all that much. But I got to admit, Carrasco's got some pretty nasty stuff, and he's not.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that his K rate is earned. He's not like one of those guys that Scott Feldman type where you just have a good out once in a while. No, he's got a pretty strong. I think it's around 11 per 9 on the road. So over the last couple of years, so he's definitely he's an option. Again, I don't think I'm gonna go there, but he's going to be a strong GPP play, I think, for sure. And like with you guys said, I think it's up in the air with Garrett, man. I got no opinion. Indians have been struggling a little bit against Feldman. It kind of turned me off, and they're not good against lefties. And Amir Garrett 7-1 on FanDuel. No, thank you. Sick. What was his price on DraftKings?
Who, Garrett? 4,800.
Yeah, 40. That's a whole different ball game. He's literally free. Yeah. All right, we got Jules Chassin of the San Diego Padres visiting Matt Harvey of my New York Mets. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I asked you before the show, can we play Matt Harvey against the Padres? I mean, I've been plugging and playing everyone against the Padres because they're so bad, but I've also been stacking everyone against Matt Harvey because he's so bad. But I think in this case they kind of neutralize each other, so I don't think I'm going to play either. But I guess I could understand if you wanted to go either way. And then on the other side, Chassin is good against righties and he's bad against lefties, and the Mets are going to throw almost all lefties at him. So no Chassin today. It's not the right spot. I could definitely have some interest in the Mets lefties here. Conforto's been hot, Jay Bruce, Neil Walker, Granderson, Duda, etc. But I think there'll be better spots for me. But the lefties is one-offs for all good plays.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. So before I get going, the night is over, and I have one of the GPPs, and it's an 8th and 10th in the other.
There we go, Joe. Get it, baby.
Joe's buying drinks tonight.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna email me mine.
So, okay. So the game. Okay, remember, everybody listening at home, Jules Chassin, good at home, bad on the road. Jules Chassin, good at home, bad on the road. So do not play him tomorrow. I don't care even if he does good. Don't do it. Okay. Secondly, Padres stink. So does Matt Harvey. Don't play either. All right, maybe one-offs. Okay, that's all I could say. Conforto, I could like that. Granderson, like that. Bruce, Walker, lefty bats, I can see the Mets. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm with you guys, man. Listen, man, you guys know I'm a Met fan, and I love the Dark Knight. I'm hoping he could figure it out, but right now he's got issues, man. And his swinging strike rate over the last 2 years. Now, listen, he's got great home numbers as well, all that over the last 2 years. It's all fine and dandy, but um, this year he has just been terrible. And his swinging strike rate last year was about 10 or so, 10.2. It's down to like 8 something this year. And so he's not getting it done, even against the Padres. I don't want to go there. Um, there's just too many better spots. I don't think you have to go there. But it's the same thing with Chassin. Joe, you hit it right on the head, man. His home and away numbers are night and day. And this is a situation where he's on the road. He's far from home here. And I like the Mets bats a lot. I think they're going to be somewhat sneaky because they have been disappointing to a degree. And I think there's other spots that may be more attractive. And there's still some weather concerns in this game. So I love the Mets here. And I think people are going to be a little hesitant to target Chassin because he's done well. Him and Perdomo over in San Diego has done well for people at a cheap price. So I like the Mets lefties here. I like them a lot. I don't mind the righties either, but they have mostly lefties. So you might as well. Their best players are all left-handed. You might as well just roll with the lefties there. All right, we got Matt Shoemaker of Matt's Los Angeles Angels.
Of Anaheim.
There it is. Visiting Alex Cobb, the Tampa Bay Rays. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I don't get very many opportunities to be a homer, and I think this is a good spot for me to be a homer. I think Shoemaker's in a good spot here. The Rays obviously strike out a ton. It's a good park for pitchers. Shoemaker's has seemed pretty good lately. His last 2 starts, 7 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts, 29 DK points, 24. So I think he's in a really good spot. This is like the ultimate boom bust spot for him. I mean, he's the guy that when he's going good, he's going really good. And when he's going bad, he gives up fly balls and home runs. And, what do we know about the Rays? They either strike out or hit home runs. So, you could certainly see this going either way. I think Shoemaker does make a really good tournament play, though, tomorrow. And then on the other side, I think Alex Cobb is kind of coming along. And he seems to be getting better with every start, recovering from Tommy John surgery. And, the last few games, he's been pretty solid. 17 DK points, 15, 18, 23. So he's getting better. The K numbers are improving. And we know my Angels aren't very good. And we also know they're very right-handed. So I like Cobb here. I like Shoemaker. I like all the pitchers in this game, for GPPs for sure. And then I don't mind a Tampa hedge stack at all. Like I said, if Shoemaker goes bad, it's going to be home runs, and the Rays can hit him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, this game, Cobb does tend to give up a lot of fly balls. So, Trout, like him. Obviously, it's what not to like. But, yeah, it's Shoemaker. It's weird how everybody just wants to attack the Rays. Sometimes that's what you need to pick the pitcher. So you're going to have success. Can't hit. But on the Rays side,
Yeah, he's been red hot, and it was funny because Matt and I were skyping earlier before lock, and we were joking around about Tampa, and we were saying how they're probably a good sneaky stack, and we were literally saying Corey Dickerson is whatever he is 4-1 on FanDuel, I think he was like nobody's gonna play him because they're gonna be like I'm not paying 4-1 for Corey Dickerson, and sure enough, lock goes by 5 minutes later, home run. So. Matt hit it right on the head, man. These guys strike out a ton. However, if they're not striking out, they're hitting home runs. So Shoemaker is a GPP only type play, but certainly a decent one. He does have the K rate. Alex Cobb, man, listen. The only reason I'm not going to stack against this guy is because your Angels are bad. But otherwise, he's going to have to prove a lot more to me before I consider rostering him because he still is proving to me I shouldn't target him. So I'm with you. I haven't really watched him too much this year. I'm only looking at his stats. So. If you say he's coming along, I'm going to keep an eye out because that's going to make a big difference. Because as of right now, he's kind of on my target list, and I'm not going to play the Angels against him anyway. Vegas would agree with me. 3.9 projected run total against him, the way he's looked lately. So I'm not on Cobb. I'm with Shoemaker, and I think if you're going to play Shoemaker, you want to do some hedge stacks for sure in GPPs with. Okay, Andrew Cashner of the Texas Rangers visiting Rick Porcello of the Boston Red Sox. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely not Cashner. He doesn't strike out enough guys, and the Red Sox are strike out less than anyone in baseball. So no Cashner here. Porcello is somewhat interesting, but I think with all the great options on the slate, all the guys with big upside, I don't think he quite has it. And I do respect the Texas lineup enough not to use him. So I think just no on the pitchers. And then on the hitting side, I'm looking at their prices all on DraftKings, and everyone just kind of feels too expensive to want to really go anywhere in this game. I'm looking kind of towards the bottom of the, Texas guys. Chu is reasonably priced, Gallo's reasonably priced, and Benintendi's reasonably priced. So maybe there is more guys than I originally thought. Yeah. So, but Porcello is just good enough that I don't think I want to go to the Texas guys here. So maybe just a few of these Boston guys, as one-offs. I mean, everyone's going to stay, stacking into Cashner. He's terrible. And he actually, he is not great, but he actually has been decent this year. 6 innings, 7 innings his last few starts, and he's only been giving up 2-1 runs. So he's been decent enough. So I kind of think, maybe just some Boston one-offs here for me, and that might be about it.
Okay, go ahead, Joe. What you got?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the bad Andrew Cashner to show up. Like, he hasn't been good, but he hasn't been like bad. So it's like he's so. I'm waiting for just somebody to just blow him up for 8 runs, and that like in Fenway they got the, get a couple fly balls and it's over the monster, and that could happen. So take a look at it. It's not a bad stack if you want to, but definitely I would one-offs is way more optimal. But yeah, and as for the Rangers bats, I just can't do it just because Porcello is just good enough. Off balance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys on Cashner. I don't like him. I'm waiting for him to get blown up. Maybe this is it because he's going to be, he's going to be in Boston, and like you said, Matt, they don't strike out a ton, and they're good. So at least offensively. So I love the Boston bats here against Cashner. On the other side, I don't mind Texas. The only thing holding me back is I'm surprised to see Vegas's run total, because honestly, they have so many lefties that I wouldn't mind. But now that I think about it, and Vegas seems to think they're not going to do so well with a 3.9 projection, Porcello, yeah, it gives me a little bit of interest in him now because he's a big favorite. He may, maybe he'll get the win, and he can strike guys out. It's not super crazy, his strikeouts, but his strikeouts are there. He can strike out, and Texas is striking out a ton this year. So I don't love Porcello, but I certainly get it. And if Vegas, if I see this projection creep up from Texas, or if I see the line going the other way, I'm gonna like Texas a lot more. But as of right now, I think I'm with you guys. I think he's, some don't feel right here. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Tyler Glasnow of the Pittsburgh Pirates visiting R.A. Dickey of the Atlanta Braves. Talk about runs. Go ahead, Matt.
R.A. Dickey. I have Julio Teheran.
Oh, you have Teheran here?
Yeah.
I have Dickey.
FanDuel.
I have Teheran on FanDuel as well.
Okay.
I have him on FanDuel, but then on Labs I have Dickey.
Okay, well, Dickey is bad against everybody. So if it's Dickey, you can play all the Pirates. He gives up a ton of home runs. It's a small ballpark. And so, yeah. If it's Teheran is terrible against lefties. He's pretty good against righties. Pittsburgh really only has a couple lefties that you're afraid of, really only one, and that's Josh Bell. So if it is Teheran, I like Josh Bell a lot. I'll probably stay away from the rest of the Pirates. But, with all the good pitching options, I don't think Teheran is necessary. On the other side with Pittsburgh, we've talked about Glasnow a lot. Every time he's pitched, he's had big time control issues. He's walked a lot of guys. He's, given up a lot of runs, but he is a highly touted prospect. The strikeout stuff is there. I think we'll end up using him down the road, but not against this pesky Atlanta team. And even without Freddie Freeman, they don't strike out a lot. So I don't think Glasnow is going to be necessary on this slate. I'm not going to stack up either of these offenses, though. I don't think the Braves have enough pop to get me there. And the same thing with Pittsburgh. It's not attractive offenses. But for one-offs, like I said, it's fine. Josh Bell's in a good spot. And then, if you wanted to go with Matt Kemp or Inciarte, that would be fine too.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I got another lefty for you for the Pirates. Everybody look at Adam Frazier.
Yeah.
Last 7 games that he started, 15, 12, 9, 32, 25, 12, and 9. That's FanDuel. 3,400. So if you want to go off the lefty bats, hopefully last week the coach sat him for no reason on a day that he should have been hitting. So as long as he's in the lineup, and especially if he's up in the top, Adam Frazier is definitely somebody you want for the Pirates stack.
Yeah, I think that if it's R.A. Dickey, I'll have a lot more interest in the Pirates. If it's not R.A. Dickey, I'll only pretty much like Bell or Frazier. As far as Tyler Glasnow, yeah, man, I'm waiting for this guy to turn the corner. Maybe it won't happen this year. He's just walking too many guys and struggling with his control, but eventually he's supposed to be good. If Freeman was in here, I'd be all over the Braves here. I still like the Braves. I mean, listen, this game, it's a pretty high run total for both sides. 4.9 for the Braves, 4.8 for the Pirates. So I do think there's runs to be scored here. Problem is, it's two of the weaker offenses. The Braves, mostly because they're missing Freeman. But they do have Matt Adams now. Matt Kemp, obviously. Phillips went yard today. So I have a little bit of interest in these offenses, but I'm going to have to look it out and figure out how to do it because it's not like neither of these sides are sides you look at and you feel comfortable. This is one of those situations where you're going to feel uncomfortable. However, considering how high these totals are, if you want to get Kershaw in, this wouldn't be a bad game to target. A lot of cheap prices. With high run projections. So both of these sides, now obviously, like I said, if Tehran is going, I think I'll like the Braves a little more. But even if Tehran pitches, man, it's all about these run projections. If they go low, it's going to lower my interest. If they stay where they are, I'm going to have to be interested just from a price standpoint so I could fit in Kershaw. Okay, we got Joe Biagini of the Toronto Blue Jays visiting Jimmy Nelson of the Milwaukee Brewers. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Biagini's another guy who's just dead free on DraftKings, 4,600. I mean, they're really trying to get you to play these guys. I mean, Biagini's a guy that has quite the pitch limit. He hasn't gone over 70 pitches in the 3 starts that he's made. So it's hard to want to go there, but Milwaukee does strike out. And like Joe said in the last one, I mean, what does he really need to get you to make him worth it? So, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's in play. And then on the other side, Jimmy Nelson has had 2 really good starts in a row, 8 strikeouts in both against Boston and against San Diego. So, against the Toronto team that's fairly right-handed, that'll be losing the DH here. Probably Kendrys Morales won't be in the lineup. So I think you can have a little bit of interest in Nelson here. On the hitting side, I said I do think Biagini's, at least decent. So, it's hard not to always have some interest in Milwaukee when they're at home, but I don't think they'll be on the top of my list. And then, that on the Nelson side, I think he's, been at least decent enough that I don't want to stack Toronto here.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Toronto's been hot though. So yeah. I still like. Toronto's one of those teams that. They're hot. They're hot with Bautista and Smoke Dog and Morales, but obviously they're going to lose. They're on the road, right? So they're going to lose the DH at least. But if Devin Travis is hitting 5th, if you want to go with the 3, 4, 5 stack, I have nothing wrong with that. That they did well yesterday, or last week, and if the roof is closed, like it is going to be, I would definitely look at the Blue Jays as somebody on the other side. Biagini does just enough. He gets a lot of ground balls to be, team off balance. Obviously, Thames, always go play Thames. He's playing well. So, but yeah, it's one of those games I don't really have good reason.
I gotcha. Jimmy Nelson, I don't believe he's very good. And I will say over the last couple of years, he has pitched a little better at home, which is surprising considering he's been in Milwaukee. However, like you said, the Blue Jays are pretty hot. I do like the Blue Jays offense here. I'm not crazy about the fact of losing a DH. But I think you can make it work, and they have been hot. And this is another team where the prices are right. Devin Travis, 3.1, like I think you mentioned him, Joe. Depending on where he bats. So Yeah, I think I like the Blue Jays here. As far as the Brewers, I don't want to pick on Biagini either. If Thames I think he's questionable right now. If Thames plays, then I think I could have interest in a guy like him. And keep in mind, Braun is now back, so as another big back bat. Now it is a right-handed bat, but it's still a bat back in the lineup. So with that said, I don't think like for stacking, I would stack Toronto. I don't think I would fully stack Milwaukee. If I was gonna play a Milwaukee guy, it'd be like a one-off here or there, maybe two guys the most. And it's going to be at the top of the lineup. There's not too many of these guys at the bottom here I don't really want to pick on Toronto. I'm being genie all that much with righties. So, yeah, and other than that, I'm with you guys. Jordan Zimmerman of the Detroit Tigers visiting Lance McCullers of the Houston Astros. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Zimmerman's one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball. This guy's been getting crushed. He hasn't been striking anybody out. He's been giving up a lot of home runs. So I think Houston is my favorite team we've been over so far. I really like the Houston bats in this spot. On the other side, McCullers is really good. He's one of the best. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. His curveball is just filthy. But I feel like this is tough for me. I don't know. I feel like Detroit may be just good enough to where I don't want to go here with all the good options. I mean, I really feel like just looking at this slate so far, it's going to be Kershaw for me, and then I'm going to be using Shoemaker a decent bit, and then I'm going to be using all these cheap guys to pair with them in GPP. So, I normally love McCullers. His last start, I was all in on him. But, maybe today against Detroit, I'll take a pass. But he's certainly good enough. I don't want to need the Detroit bats.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Stack the Astros, fade McCullers. I don't think his ceiling's high enough, especially to beat Kershaw on a Kershaw slate. I think if you're gonna get salary relief, go way down. Don't go to 9,400. I'd rather go down to Shoemaker at 88. That's saving more money. Or even more farther down to Marquez at 85. Just don't see the ceiling tomorrow for McCullers against a good lineup. Tigers, they were shut down tonight.
Yeah, I think there's definitely merit to the fact that JD Martinez is back in this lineup. It's definitely a little more scary. However, if they're gonna throw out two righties against like Scherzer, I'm gonna love Scherzer in that spot against the Tigers like we saw last year. However, one thing to note about McCullers, while he pitches better at home, he does have he's kind of a reverse splits kind of player. I wouldn't be surprised if, listen, I like McCullers. I think he's great, and I'll probably put him in at least one tournament lineup just because I do like him, and I love targeting right-handed strikeout pitchers against the Tigers. However, I prefer to do it with a guy like Aaron Nola from the Phillies. Max Scherzer is a guy we always think of, guys that are dominant against right-handed pitching. McCullers is not so dominant. He's actually better. He's been better against lefties over the last couple of years. So it's a strange situation because you could easily see the Tigers blow this guy up a little bit. Not necessarily put up 11 runs on him, but you could see Miggy or JD or Kinsler, any one of those guys hitting a home run off him. So in cash, it's a no-brainer. Stick with Kershaw. I think you're better off if you could figure out a way to comfortably play Kershaw tomorrow. You're better off. You're always better off going that way. But if you want to try with Lance McCullers, I don't blame you. I think the upside is there. I think his ceiling is there. It's just a matter of he just has so much more risk with him in the fact that he's more likely to get blown up than Kershaw is. But if he's on, man, against the Tigers struck out a ton. You saw what Peacock did to him today, and he only went 4-1. So I think the ceiling is there. I think it's just a matter of there's a lot more risk with him. And what do considering you're not saving as much, like you said, why wouldn't you just go cheaper? Because, okay, you're going to take a risk anyway. You might as well pay a cheaper price for that risk. So I certainly see your point for sure. I love the Houston bats. That's all I'm going to say. Zimmerman's terrible. I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you, Joe. Dylan Covey of the Chicago White Sox visiting Patrick Corbin of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, talk about bad. I mean, Dylan Covey he's really bad. I think he's actually worse than Jordan Zimmerman, and he's got to be one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball. I mean, this guy doesn't strike anybody out, under a 10% strikeout rate. He's given up at least 2 home runs in his last 4 starts. There's no doubt to me that Arizona will be by far the chalkiest stack on the day tomorrow, and I love them. They're my favorite stack. I mean, Houston and Arizona are definitely 1-2 for me. And then on the other side, Corbin Corbin's a decent pitcher, but the White Sox are pretty good against lefties. So I don't think I'm going to want to go to Corbin. And, a few of these White Sox guys, they are really priced up on DraftKings, though. But Abreu's been mashing. Avisail Garcia's been mashing. So they do have some righties here that could get to Corbin.
Go ahead, Joe.
Guess what time it is? That's right.
Uh-oh.
It's no. Not the Wendy's double stack. Because it's Arizona, we're going to do the Whataburger double stack. Right. Whataburger is the popular place in Arizona and the Phoenix area. They're all over the place. They're literally at every corner, Whataburger. So we're doing the Whataburger double stack of the Arizona White Sox game tomorrow. Corbin, 4.20 Sierra. The White Sox, 375 Woba against lefties. Stack the White Sox tomorrow. They're pissed off for getting shoved by Greinke tonight. All right. And on the other side, Dylan Covey is worse than is probably the worst pitcher on the slate. I think he's worse than Zimmerman. So the stack Diamondbacks again. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. I know they didn't do great tonight, but just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Whataburger double stack.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you guys, man. I want nothing to do with either of these pitchers, and I want all the hitters in this game. Don't sleep on the White Sox. Arizona's going to be, for people who can afford it, Arizona's going to be the way to go for sure. They got the highest projected run total. But don't sleep on the White Sox. 4.4 is not little, and then it's going to be another hot day. So that's all I'm going to say there. Jose Urena of the Miami Marlins visiting Jesse Hahn of the Oakland Athletics. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't want anything to do with this game. Neither pitcher has the strikeout upside I'm looking for. I hate stacking teams in this ballpark. I think Hahn is a decent real life pitcher. Urena's another guy who's a decent ground ball pitcher. He's been decent in his last 3 starts. So I think for me, this game's just going to be a complete stay away. If you're playing the late slate, the night slate, these teams are both kind of cheap. So, Chris Davis seems to be heating up a little bit. The A's overall seem to be kind of heating up as an offense. And a lot of these Marlin guys are really cheap too. I mean, Ozuna, 3,500, that's a fair price. So yeah, for the night slate, the offenses are interesting here, but nothing else for me.
Okay. What you got, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. If you're going to play a night slate, this is the game you might want to target to get off the grid because nobody will have it. And nobody definitely won't have it. I would be shocked. I mean, obviously, if the game goes off, the lineups with the MME, I just don't see anything here that's gonna draw me to it. Like, unless, like I said before, unless it's some way $2,000 guy leading off that, I'm like, okay, I'm playing. Maybe Lowry. He's always great for cash game second base. So he's always like 20.
Yeah, it looks like it's 2,300 again on FanDuel. For Tuesday, yeah, I'm with you guys, man. I think if you're playing the late slate, you could look here, but other than that, there's too many great spaces, spots. I don't think I want to necessarily. I'm just not crazy about the game in general. I think you guys nailed it anyway. Lance Lynn, last game of the day. Lance Lynn of the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Clayton Kershaw. Here he is of Matt's and Joe's. My two Cali guys here. They're Los Angeles Dodgers. Go ahead, Matt.
Of Los Angeles.
Of Los Angeles.
They're actually from Los Angeles, not like my silly Angels that claim to be from Los Angeles but aren't.
But are now kind of living in Anaheim. It's like
right. They've always been in Anaheim. I liked it better when they were in the Anaheim Angels, but anyways, different podcast. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw is really good at baseball. If you didn't know, the Cardinals are really bad against lefties. The Marine Layer is going to be back in town tomorrow night after a few hot days here. So, yeah, I love Kershaw. And the great thing about Kershaw is, a lot of these other guys that are expensive, your McCullers, Carrasco, Shoemaker, that kind of have some blow-up risk. McCullers, has a little bit of a walk problem. You don't have to worry about that with Kershaw. He doesn't walk anybody. He's ridiculous at home. And the Dodgers should be able to put up some runs against Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's been decent this year, but the Dodgers hit righties well, and they have tons of good lefties. So, I love Kershaw. I don't think the Dodgers, full stack tomorrow. on the main slate, I do like them a fair bit on the late slate. The lefties, Bellinger's been mashing, and Seager and Grandal, and Chase Utley in that number one spot's made my cash games, and because he's been really really cheap, so I think he might make my cash team again tomorrow if he's going to be leading off. But other than that, that's all I got for this game.
Okay, what you got, Joe? Tell us about your Dodgers.
All right. Here's what I got, guys. I'm going to ask you both a question. I'm going to pose it, and I'm just going to say it. If I were to tell you I could give you a player tomorrow for $1,600, that is $2,450 lifetime. Do it? That's Dexter Fowler. Guy owns Kershaw. Playoffs, he owned him. Everything, and he's $1,600. Think about it.
Not me.
I can't believe that. This is crazy. Looking at the prices, I just now looked at the prices, and I'm like, oh.
Anybody else, I'm not even thinking about it. But that's $1,600. We're both BVP guys. Okay, all he's got to do is he could get a hit and steal a base, and score a run on an unearned run, and he gets like 10 times his value. I don't. It's very tempting. I would not criticize anybody for doing that.
And you know what? It's interesting you say that. I'm gonna have to think about that, because that's the one situation where I wouldn't mind, even in a cash game, maybe playing Fowler with Kershaw, just to get me the bats. Because I'm not looking for a home run here. I'm looking for literally 6 to 9 points here, for 1.6. So I'm gonna have to think about that, man. Like you pointed that out. I'm gonna have to think about that. Now listen, in tournaments, I don't like the idea of having to just have a guy you want to use as many points as possible from every position. But in cash games, man, where you're just trying to, give you the whatever edge you can get above 50% of the field, I certainly think that you're onto something there, man. I really do. And you know what? Maybe in tournaments too, I've seen people do it. I've seen people do stuff like this and seen it paid off. So maybe it is a good bit. But in cash games, man, you're gonna make me think about that. I'm gonna have to look at his BVP.
Boo.
I don't know. Think about the other bats that you could get in that. You're punting.
That's the
what
thing.
You usually punt anyways on a Kershaw slate. You usually punt. You'll punt at least second base or shortstop and one outfield position, if not catcher.
True. Yeah, I mean, he could just get walked in.
He could get a walk, $1,600.
Yeah, I mean, you have just as good of a chance as getting a 0 as any other punt. So it's like.
And if he gets a 0, he only costs you $1,600.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, let's play some Dong Watch and let's get out of here. All right. Let's see. It looks like we're gonna go with Matt first this time, because I believe, Joe, you were first last time, right? All right, Matt, go ahead. Start us off.
All right. I'll just go with Jake Lamb off the top.
Joe.
Mike Trout.
Ooh, he took a Trout from you. Oh.
I know. I thought about it. It was there, and I was like, should I take the guy I always take? And I was like, I like Jake Lamb's spot a little better. So.
You know what? I'm not even crazy about this guy, but I think, Matt, you know who I'm gonna take, because I gotta put you in a position now, man. This is like the first time you didn't get either of these guys, so I'm gonna go with Bryce Harper. And I get one more, so I'm gonna pick one that I actually want to pick now, and not just want to leverage off of you. I'm gonna go with give me Aaron Judge, Duffy. I have a feeling that the down is easy this time. Back to you, Joe.
I'm gonna go with it's between one of the two. Abisail Garcia.
Oh, I like that.
It was either between him or Abreu. So.
All right. Give me. I mean, someone's going yard against Kobe for sure. So I'll just take Goldie. I'll take Goldie. Do I want to take all my guys from Arizona, or am I? I'll do something else. Give me a. Hold on. Give me Nolan Arenado against Eflin.
All right, Joe, your last pick here.
Give me the kid, Cody Bellinger.
See, on the East Coast, he might be the kid of the West Coast. On the East Coast, you have to be a little worried here, because I'm going to go with the kid from the East Coast, and that's Michael Conforto. of the New York Mets. I'm gonna go Conforto against Chassid. He's got terrible road splits. However, I'm having a hard time trusting any one of these Mets aside from Conforto, just because I feel like he's the only one that's clearly seeing the ball consistently well. So I'm gonna go Conforto against Chassid. Anyway, guys, it was a blast having you on here. We ended up getting through this whole thing quicker than I thought. At one point, I was like, oh, it's going to be a long podcast, and it wasn't the case. So, Matt, Joe, man, appreciate having you on. Guys, I know that we haven't had Fuego on. Fuego is going to be back. You're killing me, Smalls. I love it. Fuego is going to be back, and, I don't know about tomorrow. Maybe the next day. I'm not exactly sure when, but he's going to be back, so don't worry. And anyway, Matt, Joe, thanks for coming on, man. Always a pleasure. Listen, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, give us click that like button. The thumbs up there means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. We're continuing to grow, and we're trying to keep going. So if you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and leave us some comments. Subscribe to the channel over there. Leave us some positive reviews. Bump us up those charts. We're trying to get our names out there a little bit and spread the WiseTake DFS podcast to everybody, because it just brings so much joy to everybody. So if you like people and they play DFS, just tell them about the podcast. I think we could brighten their day a little bit. That's what we do. Anyway, guys, for Matt, for Joe, and for myself, as always, good luck.
Peace.